What's up, everyone? Welcome to the Old English Debrief. We are available on Spotify, YouTube, Pocket Cast, Amazon Music, iHeartRadio, and hopefully pretty soon Apple Podcasts. Today is Saturday, February 21st, 2026, and I'm your host, Josh Hendrickson. Baseball is finally back in the air. While the Florida sun was shining today, the scoreboard at George M. Steinbrenner Field provided a bit of a reality check. The Tigers dropped their 2026 spring training opener to the Yankees 20-3. But if you've been around the block, you know that February isn't about the final score. It's about the process, the health, and the future. Today we saw all three of those, from Gleyber Torres' return to the debut of our top-tier prospects. There's a lot to unpack beneath this lopsided total, so let's dive into the data. The wait's finally over, baseball's back, and the Tigers open their 2026 spring training schedule with that big loss. Yankees look more like, or that big 20-3 loss rather, looks more like a beer league softball result. And again, remember that it is February and it's all about the process. We're looking at mechanics, health, and those high ceiling prospects. Let's start on the mound. Keider Montero, let's start on the mound with Keider Montero, rather. The box score says he got tagged for a 400-foot blast by Spencer Jones, but the radar gun tells a more encouraging story. Montero was sitting consistently between 95 and 97 miles per hour with both his fastball and a sinker. That's a live arm for the first week of spring. However, the heat map shows that there's still some rust to shake off. He leaned on a 5-pitch mix today, but struggled to find the edges. His fastballs were living right near the heart of the upper zone, a dangerous neighborhood when Aaron Judge is at the plate. We also saw his knuckle curve and slider hanging a bit too often in the middle of the zone rather than sweeping out for the chase. It's early, but seeing that velocity jump is a huge green light for the 2026 outlook. His velocity sat at that 95-97 range, which is great to see, especially in the first week. Wasn't just Montero. The Yankees pretty much had their way and was in mid-season form. Ricky Vanasco gave up one of Judge's 2 home runs. Matt Seelinger had a disastrous 8th inning blow-up that included a grand slam by Roderick Arias, which ended up with him having a 138 ERA. Yes, you heard that right, 138. And Carlos Pena came in the 8th and was the definition of efficiency, needing just 4 pitches to get his work done and escape unscathed. Now, looking toward the offense, there's plenty to be excited about. Gleyber Torres made his highly anticipated return after re-signing on that qualifying offer. Fresh off off-season surgery, he looked 100% healthy. Screaming a 101.7 mile per hour liner right back at the pitcher for his 1-for-3 debut. But the real story are the kids. The number 2 prospect in all baseball, Kevin McGonigle, and the electric Max Clark both picked up hits today. McGonigle singled and scored the Tigers' first run in the opening frame, looking every bit the part of a future cornerstone. Corey Julks also chipped in, launching a solo shot in the 3rd to provide lone veteran highlight over the fence. And it's a lopsided total for sure, but seeing McGonigle and Clark produce and Gleyber in the flow is exactly what you want to see on day one. As far as the MLB goes, we're locked into Tigers camp, but the rest of the league is also making some massive waves that are going to change the way we watch baseball this summer. Starting with a huge announcement out of Fort Myers. The Red Sox have officially anointed the 21-year-old phenom Roman Anthony as their opening day leadoff hitter, with manager Alex Cora ending all the speculation by comparing the kid to guys like Mookie Betts and George Springer. Cora noted that having a guy like Anthony at the top can make it a 1-0 really quick, and given that he slashed .336 with 900 plus OPS and a leadoff spot late last year, it's hard to argue with that logic. Meanwhile, we're seeing the fallout from the very first day of games yesterday, where the future of officiating officially arrived, with the debut of the automatic ball strike challenge system. The early data is wild. We saw players trigger 21 challenges with a success rate of over 56%, meaning more than half of challenge calls were actually overturned. It was Baltimore's Colton Cowser who made history as the first player to trigger a challenge in 2026, though he was actually that call was actually upheld. It's a high-tech setup where 12 cameras track the ball within 1/6 of an inch, and while the umpires are still calling the game, the players now have the power to keep them honest with a quick tap of the helmet. Speaking of the Orioles, they provided the biggest first of the spring yesterday in their 2-0 win over the Yanks. Pete Alonso wearing those Baltimore colors for the first time after his massive offseason signing wasted no time proving he's still the polar bear. In the 6th inning, he absolutely demolished a hanging sweeper for a 2-run homer that left the bat at over 107 miles per hour. Very similar to Spencer's from the Yankees today. And he was happy to break the seal, and it feels fantastic in the new uniform, is what he had to say after the game, which has to be a terrifying sight for the rest of that AL East. And the stage is set for a collision of cultures, fastballs next month. And if history has taught us anything, If history has taught us anything, it's that the World Baseball Classic thrives on pure, unadulterated drama. Looking back at the history of the World Baseball Classic, we had cinematic perfection in 2023 when Shohei Ohtani struck out Mike Trout to clinch the title for Japan, a moment that transcended the sport itself. Before that, we witnessed in 2017 a defensive masterpiece where Adam Jones robbed Manny Machado of a home run, and the legendary 2013 undefeated run by the Dominican Republic that turned the game into a Caribbean carnival. These moments have built the tournament into a global phenom, and in 2026 is looking to raise that bar even higher. The landscape of this year's tournament is dominated by heavy hitters, starting with Team USA squad that is finally bringing the heavy artillery to the mound. For years, the U.S. relied on massive lineup, which had a rotation lagged behind, but the dream rotation led by our 2-time back-to-back Cy Young winner, Tarek Skubal and Paul Skeens, changes the entire math of the bracket. They aren't just the favorites, they're a defensive juggernaut designed to shut down the most explosive offenses in the world. However, they'll have to contend with the defending champions from Japan, a team defined by disciplined pitching and tactical brilliance. While the new pitch clock might disrupt the deliberate rhythm of the Samurai Japan staff, their fundamentals remain the gold standard of the international play. And with Yoshinobu Yamamoto anchoring the defense, they aren't going to be giving up that crown without a fight. Then you have the Dominican Republic, a team that was essentially an MLB all-star roster condensed into one dugout. After a disappointing early exit in the last tournament, the DR is coming back with the chip on their shoulder and a lineup featuring names such as Juan Soto, Fernando Tatis Jr., Vlad Guerrero Jr., that can turn any game into a home run derby real fast. Beyond the big three, keep a very close eye on Venezuela and Mexico, both of whom have proven that they have depth and the emotional fire to play that spoiler in the tournament. And the tournament is no longer just a preseason tune-up, it's a high-speed, high-stakes sprint, where a single 15-second timer could be the difference between a gold medal and a flight home. Well, all that being said, a 21 outburst by the Yankees is a tough pill to swallow, but seeing the future of our middle infield and outfield contribute on day one is exactly what we wanted to see. Keider Montero may have not been at his best, but his velocity was up, which was great, and we're shaking off that rust, testing the arms, and getting our first look at the very first exciting 2026 squad. Question of the day is, between Kevin McGonigle and Max Clark, which prospect do you think will have the higher ceiling for the Tigers' future? Let me know your thoughts on that and anything else in the comments on Spotify. You can also follow the show or leave your comments on our YouTube channel, which is also the Old English Debrief. I'll see you guys in the next one, and remember, be kind to one another, and go Tigers for life.